Hey everyone, welcome into Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley on the bridge with me again for this episode, as we are going to recap and discuss Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 6, titled Lost in Translation. So anyway, Burley, have you been inhaling any deuterium lately?
No, just only spiritual opium. How about you?
Yeah, spiritual opium. Yeah, that's the thing. Deuterium, yeah, it's a little bit hazardous, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a little.
So before we get into the recap, I just want to let all of you know, obviously there are massive spoilers in this episode because Burley and I were going to be recapping and discussing it in full. So yeah, there's going to be spoilers throughout. So if you have not watched the episode yet, please go to Paramount Plus and check it out there, and then come back and enjoy our video here on the Arena Production. So with that said, that is your spoiler warning. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Burley, yeah, so there is the deuterium out there, and of course, they have this big kind of a rig in space, so to speak, and which is supposed to, of course, catch this deuterium, because the deuterium is kind of like fuel for the ships, I guess. And so, little do they know what's about to happen. And obviously, this is an Uhura episode with a little bit of James T. Kirk thrown in there. So it's interesting, and we see here in the image this, of course, the rig here. So Uhura, obviously, she doesn't get much sleep these days. So when does she ever get any sleep? It's like almost in every episode she's at her post there. It's like she's working at her post like 24/7, it seems like, right, Burley?
Oh yeah, she's always there. You got to believe Pike is probably just like, okay, how can I get her to just stay in her quarters, rest and all this.
Mm-hmm.
She never sleeps.
Yeah. So this refinery is like a big deal, and what's interesting now is you saw in that last image there, Pike has, of course, been promoted to field captain, or fleet captain, I should say. I'm sorry, fleet captain, which is sticking with canon, and of course James T. Kirk, as he meets, and you'll see later as we talk about it, as he meets Pike on the Enterprise. Yeah, this sticking with canon there, as Pike becomes the fleet captain for this exercise. So yeah, good stuff. So anyway, we see more images here of the deuterium, and now she starts to hear these noises, and it's like, what the heck are these noises? And of course, Pike is basically telling her, you need to go to sick bay. You're relieved of duty for now. And then, of course, we get the image here with Pelia and Uhura kind of talking for the first time. And it was funny how she was mentioning Hemmer, because obviously we see her with the kind of like the tablet there and watching the video clip of her and Hemmer I think it was... I don't know if it was a part of engineering that they were in. I don't remember exactly, but it was funny how Pelia was talking to her about, he was one of my greatest students. And then you see her face there, right? And then Pelia says, "Oh, I just said that because he's dead. He was all right."
It was like that one was like, okay, but it was nice to actually get Hemmer again, because you see him on the tablet there. You get because he had recorded instructions, because Uhura says, I want to make sure my stuff is good all the time. Instead of me badgering him all the time, he just made this little video to show me to do it myself, because it was more efficient that way.
Yeah, I love the part in the clip when Emmer's like messing with her. He's like, not that one.
I was just about to break that up.
Yeah, it was so good, man.
It was so good.
Yeah. And then she gets into the turbo lift here, and this is before like the opening credits start, and then of course we get zombie Hemmer here. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's like and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
that was cool and neat, and I did not expect that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. That was good stuff. And it completely freaks her out and all. So yeah, I mean, she is the only one on the ship that's hearing these noises, and the noises are basically causing her to hallucinate. You know, it's messing with the brain and all. And then we get to the part here with Palia again, and they are on the refinery now. And Palia and Number One have that little exchange. I mean, it's like, you know, it's Number One is, you know, she just hates the fact that Palia, you know, is messy and she doesn't want to follow orders to the T and all. And Palia is just like, oh man, I'm having fun with this. What did you think of that?
oh, I love it because you've got Number One, and she's like, you know what, she's back in Starfleet. She's happy to be here, happy to be back doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone like Palia that's just pretty much almost just had her come into the scene being like munching on a donut basically, and just having crumbs everywhere and just doing what she wants and be like not doing things to procedure.
Yeah, yeah. I love how Number One like calls her like, and it's later on in the episode, but calls her a space hippie.
Yeah,
and Palia, man, she's like, I've been called thousands of things in my life, but a space hippie? Oh boy, yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. So. And then of course, the USS Farragut is also you know, working in conjunction with the Enterprise on this refinery, and obviously we get Paul Wesley as James T. Kirk, and he comes on the ship, and I love the exchange between, you know, Kirk and his brother here, because we never got that in the original series, because the brother in the original series only lasts for about 30 seconds. So it's cool how they talk about their father. So basically, you know, the Kelvin timeline is completely scrapped in this series. So I mean, Kirk and Sam's father is still alive, and so they're talking about him and all. And it's interesting how, you know, they talk about Kirk, and you know, the Sam is congratulating him for becoming the first officer on the Farragut, the youngest ever. And yeah, who was the youngest previously? Oh, our father. You know, so yeah, I love that part. I love the exchange between them, and it's like, you know, Sam, obviously his first name is George after his father, and of course, you know, Jim Kirk is kind of, you know, his younger brother is, you know, kind of he kind of resents that in a sense that, you know, he has the father's name, you know, his brother. But yeah, there's a lot of competitiveness between them, and you can see that throughout this episode. And later on in the episode, it's funny how it gets to Sam, you know. So I mean, he's really jealous that his younger brother is just climbing up the ranks really fast.
Oh yeah, but I love when they first meet up. You've got, he says, "Oh, do you want me to give you a tour of the ship?" Yeah, only if it ends at the bar.
Yeah.
You still got, like, they're doing such a good job with Kirk in this. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, and the actor Paul Wesley is just doing an amazing job.
Yeah. And then we get the scene here, of course, with Nurse Chapel and Spock playing the chess and all. And I it's interesting. They're talking about their relationship, but I like how they go back to Kirk, you know, and you know, Kirk is like, you know, your pointed-eared friend there, he was like two moves away from checkmate, but then your friend, you know, the Uhura, you know, when she came up, she messed things up.
She distracted him.
It distracted him, yeah. And it's, yeah, he's just trying to have small talk with her, and then Uhura just, you know, takes off. And then we get the image here, the hallucination of the next hallucination, where all of these, you know, dead crew members, you know, in the corridor there, just a messy situation. So her hallucinations are getting, you know, worse, and she just clocks Kirk, knocks him on the floor. I love that part, you know. And then obviously it's like, we're not going to go to sickbay because obviously you don't want to have to say that you struck a superior officer, and so she takes Kirk to her quarters, I guess, and fixes his nose. Yeah, I like that part. What did you think of that?
Oh, that was just so funny, because it's kind of funny because usually Kirk was the one always in the original series messing people up. So to have him get his comeuppance a little, get a little, and then him getting taken there, and then he's as he's getting healed there, and he's complaining. She's like, "Stop being a baby."
Yeah,
It's just funny.
Yeah, and as the episode progresses, it's cool how he really helps Uhura and helps her to understand that. I mean, this entire episode is about loss and how to deal with loss, as well as how to listen. Because obviously, Uhura, she's trying to figure out what's going on. She's listening, but she doesn't understand what she's listening to. But then, so it's like a lot of people when they talk, you might not understand what they're saying. You're trying to listen to them, but you don't understand. So then you have to listen a lot more carefully so that you can understand what they're actually trying to express. So, but in that part of the episode with Kirk, I mean, coming to grips with loss, of course, her family, that died in the shuttle accident, and then of course Hemmer, and so being able to live with that, and I really like that, and how Kirk was there to help her with that, and because Kirk talks in the episode about trying to help those in need. And then of course La'an comes down the corridor, and that's when he's discussing that with her. But then we get to this other image here, of course. Pelia obviously had come up to number one and said, in the fuel distribution system, it's been sabotaged. There's a saboteur here on the refinery. So they're going after the saboteur. And obviously the saboteur was a crew member on the Farragut. And he's experiencing the same, hallucinations that Uhura is. And so, yeah, they're trying to figure out what to do here. So what did you think of this part of the episode when we got the other crew member from the Farragut? His name was Sal Ramon. So what did you think of that part, Burley?
I liked it. We have this other person being affected, like Uhura, and then finding him, and you get you don't get much from him at first.
Yeah,
it says very minimal, and they're trying to figure out, and I think they do a scan, and they find out he's got the same kind of poisoning that Uhura has.
Yeah,
and they're trying to figure it out, and then you get the whole meeting with Kirk and Pike.
Yeah. And she has this hallucination where they're all like jettisoned out into space and all. And then, of course, Pike is having another meeting with her. And this is, of course, the image here where Kirk meets Pike for the first time in our regular timeline. So, and of course, he, congratulates him on becoming a fleet captain and all. And and so obviously Ramon, he breaks free and gets out, and he creates some havoc. He actually kills one of the crew members, unfortunately, and so you have them all looking for him here, and then we get the scene here with Kirk running into La'an. So I thought this was pretty interesting, So Pike is like, "You guys know each other," and then La'an's like, "Now's not the time to explain, Captain."
So that was just so good, because we've been wondering when those two are going to meet up, and how this reaction, and like when they do have that thing and talk, and then they decide to split up. La'an takes that extra little longing look at him.
Yeah,
you could tell she's still in love with him.
Oh yeah. But will anything come of it? I don't think so. I just don't think so. I mean, because unless it's something that we don't know about in canon, or that was never focused on, like in any of the other, TV series or the movies. So yeah. But anyway, so we get Ramon here looking at Uhura, and he can't speak anymore, but I like this still here, because he's trying to communicate with her just, through expression. It's like I'm just like you, and they still don't understand that this is an alien species that they're dealing with here, but it's something that they have to try to protect, or to help to protect. And that's the reason why Ramon sabotaged the refinery, and he's trying to break free from the ship here. So yeah, I mean, they have the struggle and all, and then he just just blows up that bulkhead there, and flies out into space. But of course, obviously, Kirk gets there in time to save Uhura, and beam them out of that area. And so of course Ramon just freezes in space there. But yeah, and then here it's interesting how Pike mentions, when they're in sickbay, he mentions that 2 are dead because of this explosion. 2 are dead, and then Chief Medical Officer is in surgery. Now, which Chief Medical Officer is he referring to? Is he referring to M'Benga, or is he referring to the Farragut's Chief Medical Officer? Because they're on the Enterprise when that explosion happens. So yeah, that's what I didn't get from the episode. I mean, they weren't very clear on that.
Sorry, I think if it was M'Benga, they would have said M'Benga, but who knows? Yeah, that was just a very unclear moment where, and I'm like scratching my head when I'm watching. I'm like, which one? Just tell me which one.
Yeah, because when Ramon breaks free from sickbay, he slashes M'Benga, but it's just a cut on his chest or something, and so M'Benga's going to be okay, it seems. But yeah, who knows? I mean, but probably it's the Chief Medical Officer of the Farragut, because that person came on board to try to help out, maybe. I don't know, but anyway. So this is the scene with La'an and Kirk, and the discussion that they had, and that was a pretty cool discussion, and getting to know each other. And I like the ending there. Kirk is saying, "You still owe me a drink," from the time from the time that they were talking on the communicative pad, And then here, this is the great part. I just love the second back and forth between number one and Palia. And I love this part where, number one is basically like, you've been in Starfleet longer, before I was even born, but I outrank you. Why is that? I mean, it's just, yeah. And Palia is just, giving it to her about, you're just stubborn, and, you can't admit if you're wrong about something, so I love that part.
Oh, that was great. That, and then they talk about, like, you gave me a C on my report when I was in the academy and all that, and she's like,
you deserve that C. Yeah. Yeah. And then of course Kirk, helping out Uhura again. So yeah, it's really cool in this episode how we see the bond forming between Kirk and his future crewmates. Because obviously Kirk, in the future, he's going to be the captain of the Enterprise, obviously. And obviously these people that he's talking with, Uhura and others, are going to be, crew members. So yeah, I really like how he was there to help her, especially with the issue of loss, and to, come to grips with it. And then, of course, we get the scenes here. They go to the brother, because obviously Uhura is starting to figure out that this must be an alien race that is trying to communicate with her in some way, shape, or form. And then they go to, of course, Sam, who's an expert in xenoanthropology. And so they try to figure out, and they basically figure out that this is an alien race that's living within the deuterium. So yeah, they have to figure out how to help them and figure out what they're trying to communicate. And I really like how she finally comes to grips here with the loss of her family in the shuttle accident, and then she's able to figure out what's really going on. And so basically the first hallucination with Hemmer, obviously, it's like them sucking the deuterium out. That's what's killing this alien race. And so like all the people that are dead in the corridors and all, that was another, example that they were trying to give to Uhura there. And so Uhura basically says to Captain Pike, we have to destroy the refinery, because the refinery, as well as what we're doing with the deuterium on the ship, that's what's killing this alien race. And so Pike is like, are you sure? Are you completely sure? And she's like, I'm sure. And so then, of course, Pike said, you heard her, and orders the photon torpedoes to destroy the refinery after everybody evacuates. And we see, of course, the zombie Himmer trying to communicate that it's the deuterium being sucked away that's killing them, because they live inside the deuterium. And so after blowing up the refinery here, that's what saves them. And obviously we get Himmer back to real Himmer form, basically communicating to La'an that, yes, you saved us. Thank you very much. So your thoughts on the ending of the episode here?
I thought the ending was good, and I like it with, you got Pike, because like Pike's at first saying, well, we scanned, we didn't see any life forms, and she's basically telling him, do you not trust me, Captain? Just trust me on this. And it shows the bond between Pike and his crewmates. He trusts his crew. His crew is telling him something, he knows well enough to trust them and act upon it. And I love it that he at the end says, okay, after we're done, he does that. He says, just say it was, we'll say it was me, so that way if there's any reprimand, it goes to me, not to you.
Right, exactly.
As the good old Boy Scout that he is.
Right. And then we get the final scene between Pelia and Number One here, and basically, Pelia is mentioning the fact that it's, she, Number One, is still upset that Hemmer is gone and that she replaced Hemmer in it. And it was a nice moment here where they were able to come to grips with that, and kind of bury the hatchet, so to speak, there. And then of course Kirk and Uhura getting to know each other a little bit. And I love this part here, the final part with Sam. Sam comes up and he's wanting an apology, and it's like Kirk's not going to give him an apology. So the sibling rivalry continues and all. And then here, the awesome ending of the episode where, of course, Spock comes up and cleans up Sam's drink. He's a messy guy, is what he says. And then it's like Uhura introduces Kirk and Spock, and so we see the future in this image here. What did you think of the very last part?
I love this. You get that big, firm handshake, and them both staring at each other, and it's just enough to remind you, hey, these two are going to be together, running the Enterprise. Yes. Stay tuned for the future. It was a great wink nod for Star Trek fans that know that's coming. For those that don't know it's coming, I think it sets it up well enough to be like, are those two going to work together again?
Yeah. It's going to be a while, but yes. It's going to be an awesome ride when it does happen. And I hope they do eventually bring that about on Strange New Worlds. I think they will, maybe in another few seasons, maybe another 2 seasons with Anson Mount as Pike before bringing Kirk on, because obviously Kirk he has to be first officer on the Farragut, for a while at least. So we shall see. But it was a great episode. I enjoyed it. I liked Uhura's performance as well as Kirk's performance. It was awesome. It stuck with canon as well. So I really enjoyed it. But Burley, next week we're almost there. Yes, the crossover episode. Those old scientists. Yes, we're getting the crossover between, of course, Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. I'm excited. I can't wait to see Mariner and Boimler on the Enterprise. That's going to be so fun. And Boimler, from what we've heard, actually, Jess Bush, who's the actress that plays Nurse Chapel. Actually, there are some pretty interesting scenes between Nurse Chapel and Boimler in this upcoming episode. So yeah, she said it was really, really fun to film those scenes with you know, the character Boimler. So yeah, it'll be fun to see. And how Mariner deals with like Captain Pike and everybody else. I just want to see Mariner and La'an and how they, you know, have to deal with each other. That's going to be interesting.
No. Mariner and Spock.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
That episode, I cannot wait. Like so far, this is another banger of an episode. Season 2 is continuing on with season 1, where this is so good. Where every week I'm like, cannot wait for the next. Give me the next episode already. I want 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I want the rest of the episodes.
Yeah,
because it's so good.
Yeah, and it's interesting at the very beginning of the episode. I think it was Spock that was mentioning that this refinery was close to the edge of Gorn space. So now that they've destroyed this refinery, maybe that is something that allows the Gorn to penetrate more into Federation territory. We shall see. That's interesting. And then, like you said, of course, Jonathan Frakes, of course, Riker, he's going to be directing the episode for you know, those old scientists with the crossover. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. And of course, Burley and I we're excited to bring it all to you here on the Arena Productions next week for you know, episode 7 of season 2 of Strange New Worlds. So we hope you can you know, catch us for that when we do our recap and discussion. So it's going to be a good one next week. So anyway, I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burley. And this has been another episode of Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. And if you like this episode, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe and notification bell for when we drop a new episode here of Warp Factor 10, as well as all of our other content here on the Arena Productions. And let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode. What did you think of the story arc, of course, between Kirk and his brother, of course, Kirk and Uhura, and as well as, of course, seeing Hemmer again in the episode, the back and forth between Pelia and Number One. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments. We'd really love to hear from you. So anyway, thank you so much, and we hope to catch you again next week. So take care, everyone. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.